My name's Grant Mercer, and that night it was late October, cold enough that the windshield kept fogging at the edges. I was hauling camera equipment and generators to a ranch outside Burns for a commercial shoot. The company paid extra for overnight runs, and I needed the money. My wife Lena was 7 months pregnant. We were trying to save for a bigger place before the baby came. The GPS kept cutting out once I got deeper into back roads. I had one paper map folded on the passenger seat, but most of the route was just county roads and dirt access lanes. Around 11:40 p.m., I missed a turn because the sign had fallen over in the ditch. By the time I realized it, I was already 20 miles off course. I stopped near an old cattle gate to check the map. The engine ticked softly under the hood. Outside, the silence was so complete it made my ears ring. No traffic, no wind, nothing. That was when I noticed the light. Far out across the field, maybe half a mile away, a single yellow light was moving slowly between the trees. At first I thought it was another truck, maybe a ranch hand, but the movement was wrong. Too smooth, too slow, like someone carrying a lantern and walking in a straight line through rough ground. I remember feeling relieved. I figured I could ask for directions. I grabbed my flashlight, stepped out, and instantly felt how cold it really was. The kind of cold that cuts through denim and settles in your bones. The dirt crunched under my boots as I crossed to the gate. That's when I heard the first whistle. Short, sharp, human. I froze. It came again from my left, this time much closer. 2 notes, like someone trying to get my attention. I swung the flashlight toward the fence line. Nothing but sagebrush and shadow. Hello, I called. No answer. Then the yellow light in the distance stopped moving. It was just standing there now, watching me. I can't explain why that thought hit me so hard, but it did. Every instinct in me said get back in the truck. I turned around and headed fast for the cab. Before I reached the door, the whistle came again, directly behind me. Not 50 feet away. I spun so fast I nearly slipped. The beam caught a fence post, then brush thin. A man. He was standing on the other side of the ditch, half hidden behind a juniper tree. Tall, thin, wearing what looked like an old work coat. I couldn't see his face clearly, but I could tell he wasn't moving, not even shifting his weight, just standing there. I shouted, "You know how to get a Miller Ranch?" No reply. Then he lifted one arm slowly and pointed behind me, toward my truck. I turned. The passenger door was open. I know for a fact I had locked it. My stomach dropped. I ran the last few steps and yanked the door wider. My map was gone. My phone too. I looked up at the windshield and saw something that still makes me sick when I think about it. A handprint on the inside of the glass. 5 long streaks dragged downward through the fog like someone had pressed their palm there while crouching in the footwell. I jumped back so hard I hit the side mirror. When I looked toward the tree line, again, the man was gone. So was the yellow light. I got and slammed the doors and hit the locks 3 times. My hand was shaking so badly, I could barely get the truck into gear. I didn't care about the route anymore. I just wanted pavement and people. I drove blind down the dirt road, tires fishtailing over gravel. The high beams caught fence posts, dead brush, and miles of nothing. I kept checking the rear view every few seconds. At first there was nothing. Then I saw headlights. Far back, low to the ground. No more than 2 small white dots bouncing over the road. I actually felt relieved for a second. Another vehicle meant help. Then I noticed something wrong. The lights never got closer the normal way. They disappear behind dips in the road, then suddenly reappear much nearer, like whoever was driving knew every shortcut and turned better than I did. I sped up. So did they. My truck was loaded heavy, and this road wasn't built for speed. Every turn felt like I might roll over. Dust swallowed the mirrors. My hand was slick with sweat. I kept thinking about Lena, asleep at home, one hand on her stomach waiting for me to call in the morning. Then the CB radio crackled. I nearly drove off the road. Nobody used the CB anymore, and mine had been dead for months. Static hissed. Then a voice came through. Soft. Calm. You left your map. I swear on my daughter's life, that's what it said. I ripped the cord out of the radio, so hard the plastic snapped. The headlights behind me killed their beams. The darkness after that was worse. I couldn't see them anymore, but I knew they were still there. A few miles later, the dirt road split. No signs, no markings. I picked left on instinct and prayed. That decision probably saved my life, because less than a minute later, my high beams caught an old livestock barrier stretched low across the right path. Rusted chain and steel spikes welded into a frame. A trap. If I'd taken that road at speed, it would have gone through the windshield. I remember screaming then. Not words, just panic. I kept driving until I hit a paved county road around 2 a.m. The first gas station I found was 20 miles later. A kid behind the counter took one look at me and asked if I'd been in an accident. I told him what happened. He got quiet. Then he asked me where exactly I turned off. I showed him on the map hanging near the register. His face changed. He said that area used to have an old logging camp back in the 70s. A couple working there vanished one winter. Search teams found their truck abandoned near a cattle gate. Doors locked, engine running. No sign of them. Just muddy footprints around the vehicle and a handprint on the inside of the windshield. Police blamed exposure. Locals blamed something else. Over the years, ranchers reported lights in the fields whistling at night and strange men standing near fence lines before people went missing livestock gear, sometimes dogs. Nobody could prove anything, but everyone out there knew one rule. If you hear whistling in the middle of nowhere after dark, you do not answer it. I drove back with state police at sunrise to get the trailer rerouted. My truck was still there at the gas station, but when I opened the passenger door, my missing map was folded neatly on the seat. On top of it was Lena's ultrasound photo, the one I kept tucked behind my license in my wallet. I never found out how it got there. I never went back to Eastern Oregon. I quit that job 2 months later. My daughter is 5 now, and sometimes when she's playing alone, she hums the same 2-note whistle I heard that night. She says she doesn't know where she learned it. I was doing late-night courier work outside Missoula because my hours at the auto shop had been cut and I needed extra money before winter hit. Most overnight drops were simple. Medicine, groceries, replacement parts. You picked up the package, drove out, snapped a delivery photo, and left. But this one was different. The address wasn't really an address. Just a rural county road, a GPS pin, and a note in all caps. Leave at front door. Do not knock. The pay was 3 times normal. That should have been the first sign. My name is Travis Bennett, and what happened that night still follows me every time I drive after dark. The warehouse sat on the edge of town, and by the time I left, freezing rain had already started dusting the roads. My package was small, light, about the size of a shoebox. No return label. No sender listed. Just one name printed clean across the top. Ellis Graham. I tossed it onto the passenger seat and started the hour-long drive. The first half was normal enough. The highway was empty except for the occasional logging truck. But once the GPS pulled me off the main road, everything changed. The pavement narrowed into a cracked county route that cut straight through miles of pine forest. No gas stations, no homes, no signal, just trees. The kind that crowd the road so tightly it feels like they're leaning in to watch. About 40 minutes and I noticed headlights behind me. A pickup truck. It hadn't been there before. I would have seen it. Out there, every pair of headlights feels personal. The truck kept its distance at first, matching my speed exactly. I told myself it was another local heading home. Then I turned onto the smaller gravel road my GPS told me to take. The truck turned too. That's when my stomach dropped. My phone's signal vanished completely. My map froze. The blue dust stopped moving. The road got rougher, branches scraping against my doors as fog rolled and low over the ground. I checked the mirror. The truck was closer now. So close its headlights flooded the inside of my car. Then it flashed twice. A quick signal. I ignored it and kept going. A minute later, my phone buzzed. No caller ID. I answered without thinking. At first, just static. Then a man's voice. Calm. Older. Don't stop your car. The line cut. I stared at the phone in disbelief. No bars. No service. But somehow that call had come through. My heart started pounding. I looked back. The truck's horn suddenly blasted once. That's when I saw movement in the bed. At first I thought it was cargo shifting under a tarp. Then something stood up. A person. Tall. Thin. Wearing a pale sack over their head with eye holes cut out. I froze. The truck driver started flashing his lights, fast now frantic, and laid on the horn. The figure in the truck bed leapt out while the truck was still rolling. It hit the gravel, stumbled, then locked onto my car and started sprinting. Not jogging. Sprinting. Full speed. I slammed the gas. My tires spun loose before catching. Gravel sprayed behind me as I fishtailed down the only opening ahead. A long dirt driveway, disappearing into the woods. The truck followed. My headlights bounced over mud and tree roots until finally a house appeared. Old weather-beaten, half hidden by pines. But there were lights on inside. I barely stopped before I jumped out. I grabbed the package without even thinking and ran for the porch. Before I could knock, the front door flew open. An older man stood there holding a shotgun. Gray beard, flannel jacket, bare feet. He looked at me, then passed me toward the driveway. His face changed instantly. Inside. Now. I ran in. He slammed the door and locked 3 deadbolts in seconds. An older woman in the kitchen was already pulling curtains shut like she'd done it 100 times. Neither of them looked confused. They looked prepared. The man took the package from my hand, stared at the name, and muttered, "So he finally sent it." I backed away. "What is going on?" He ignored me and went to the window. Outside, the pickup had stopped halfway up the driveway. Its headlights cut through the trees. The driver stepped out. He was maybe 60. Heavy coat. Rifle slung over one shoulder. He waved toward the house. The old man beside me relaxed just slightly. "That's Walter," he said. "He's the one who called you." My legs nearly gave out. What was chasing me? Before he answered, something slammed into the side of the house, so hard the windows rattled. I flinched. Another hit. This time from the back wall. The woman whispered, "It knows you brought it." I turned to them. "Brought what?" The old man set the package on the table and slowly opened it. Inside was a small, rusted metal lockbox. The kind you keep papers in, but wrapped around it was a chain. And tied into the chain was a strip of stained cloth. The same pale fabric that had covered the thing's face. The old man looked at me and finally said, 20 years ago, my brother Ellis disappeared in these woods. But he didn't vanish. He joined them. I thought he was insane until something dragged its nails slowly across the back door. Not an animal. Too deliberate. Like it wanted us to hear. Walter burst through the front door without knocking. Snow and cold air rushed in with him. "There's 3 tonight," he said. "Maybe 4. My blood turned to ice. Walter looked at me. "You weren't supposed to make it here. They usually take the drivers before they reach the house." I could barely speak. "What are they?" He answered fast, like there wasn't time. "People who went missing out here. Hikers, drifters, hunters, folks who wandered too far. There's something in these woods that changes them, makes them come back wrong." Another slam hit the back wall. Harder. A window cracked. Walter handed me a revolver from his coat. "You know how to shoot?" I nodded, though my hand was shaking so badly I could barely hold it. The old man opened the lockbox. Inside were photographs, old Polaroids, missing people, newspaper clippings, maps, and a cassette tape. The woman's face went pale. "Ellis's recording." The old man swallowed hard. "If this made it here, he wants us to hear it." He shoved the tape into an old player on the shelf. Static filled the room. Then a man's voice. Weak. Terrified. "My name is Ellis Graham. If anyone finds this, don't come looking. They're not people anymore. They wait near the road. They use voices now. Mine too." The tape crackled. Then Ellis started screaming, not from pain, from hearing something mimic him in the dark. At that exact moment, a voice from outside copied the tape perfectly. Same scream, same pitch, right outside the kitchen window. The woman broke down crying. The thing outside started laughing. Not human laughter. A broken, choking sound like someone trying to remember how. Then every light in the house went out. Pure black. For 3 full seconds, no one moved. Then Walter fired through the window. The muzzle flash lit the room just long enough for me to see a face pressed against the glass. That pale sack mask. And behind it, eyes I recognized. My own. I don't remember much after that. Just gunshots. Screaming. Glass shattering. Walter got me out through the storm cellar while the Grahams stayed behind. I never saw them again. Police searched the property 2 days later. The house was there, but empty. No blood. No bodies. No tape. Just my delivery photo, still saved on the app. A picture of the package sitting on the porch. Taken at 11:43 p.m. The problem is, I never took that photo, because at 11:43, I was already inside the house, and standing in the reflection of the front window behind the package was someone wearing my face.